I've been eyeing the full-size Mercedes GLS SUV for a while, especially after seeing Ranveer Singh and Varun Dhawan rolling in one. And guess what? Mercedes has finally answered my prayers by giving me one at half the price. I know it's too hard to believe, but that is the brand new GLB, and we have another electric version called the EQB. I'm Roshan Sirohia, and I'm here to tell you more. You're watching Top Gear India. So let's start with the way it looks, because that's where the similarities with the GLS are the most. It's got proportions of a boxy SUV. It's almost vertical at the back. The lights are almost the same as the GLS. This is the AMG line 220D trim. It also gets diffusers that don't diffuse anything. There are fake tailpipes as well, but overall it creates the look of something very, very premium. On the 220D AMG line, you get 19-inch wheels. And on the other variants, there are 18-inch wheels as standard. On the side is where you see the proportions of the car. So it's not a very tall SUV because the GLS is almost overpowering me. This is a more compact luxury SUV, and the wheelbase is actually 100 mm longer than the GLA. On the front, the chunky looking styling continues. So you've got this chrome studded AMG line specific grille, which looks very nice. Rectangular headlamps on both with LED eyebrows. A lot of chrome at the bottom, which I think will go down very well. Overall, it does end up looking like a very premium looking but compact SUV. The GLB is supposed to be priced closer to the current generation GLC, which means it's going to be a little expensive for what it actually offers. But the party trick of the GLB with the extended wheelbase should be in the boot space, right? So let's check out the boot of this car. A powered tailgate, and as a matter of fact, you only get 130 liters. That's where things get more interesting. With pull of 2 levers, you actually get a flat boot floor up to 570 liters, and the last row is actually a 5+2. So that's great. In terms of more space, all I need to do is get the second row flatten up, and that means I have 1086 liters of space, which for this size of car, it's actually quite amazing. So being an SUV, getting into the front row is not that elevated as I thought. And you're presented with the interior, which is very glamorous, almost the same as the GLA. So you've got the twin screen setup with the latest MBUX, so 10.25-inch screens on both sides. I've got these lovely turbine style air vents. Space actually is quite practical, so I've got almost like two 6 cup holders in this car. I've got a little deep but little narrow central armrest. This is a nice wrist rest for my wrist while driving. The steering, because being the AMG line, has the AMG line steering wheel, which feels really nice and chunky to hold. Overall, the sense of space and the view outside, definitely I think people will appreciate that. Some practical features to note of the new GLB and the new EQB, where the interiors are common, is I've got 6 cup holders, I've got electric charging available, I've got up to about 6 USB-C ports. I've also got a nice glove box with a little tray to put like knickknacks up there, so that's nice and spacious. You get memory seats on the GLB or for the driver and the passenger. You also get seat kinetic, which is controlled by the display here, where there's a basic massage function and helps with relaxation in the long drives. You also get ambient lighting, which is changeable up to 64 colors, like the latest generation Mercedes cars. And finally, you get a 10-speaker audio system, which does sound pretty good for this car. So, put up the seat again, the second row. Getting in and out, I think, is very easy, and the sense of space here in terms of legroom, I have enough space to slide my feet. Is really nice. The panoramic sunroof with the split type style of the Mercedes is really nice. I can actually recline my seat as well. I can slide my seat forward and backward to liberate more space for the rear passengers. The only complaint is the under-thigh support on this seat is really poor. It's almost like a flat bench. So anyone who's over 5 feet, I don't know, 5 feet 9 or 10, I don't think is going to be a very comfortable person or a passenger for a very long distance. So I'm driving the GLB 220D, which is the top of the line diesel engine, a 2 litre, 187 HP, 400 Nm of torque for the stats of this engine. A 0 to 100 claimed is 7.6 seconds, and it feels like you're driving the GLA with a little more heft or with a little more weight, because the engine is the same, the tune is the same. It actually does feel quite refined, only at the it's when you push at the higher end of the rev band is when you will feel the engine kind of becoming a little noisy. But very tractable if you're taking a lot of luggage, if you're carrying, I mean, almost 6 passengers with a full load. This will be the choice of engine in the current lineup. The petrol, which is the 1.3 litre seen as in the A class and in the GLA, I think is more suited to in-town driving. It's very refined, but not the most powerful of the lot. You will feel it getting strained, especially on a full load. Ride and handling on the GLB is the good surprise for me. It's almost at levels of GLC, I would say. Ride quality is smooth, it's comfortable, what do you expect of a Merc. Yes, maybe road noise and tire noise a little bit on the higher side. It's not GLC hushness levels, but Mercedes seems to have worked very hard on improving that. It's better planted than the GLA, although the GLA seems more nimble because of its size. But this, with the heft, I think this is my preference in terms of the way it feels. Body roll is very limited. Only if you're pushing extremely hard, at least on the hills of Kodaikanal where we are driving right now, this feels fairly engaging to drive for an SUV. You do get driving modes on this car. So there's a knob on the central console next to my hand, which allows me to switch between Eco, I was about to say professional, Eco, Sport, Individual and Comfort. I think Comfort is the setting for most driving occasions. Sport is great in the hills. It only changes the engine response, not much changes in the suspension, because it is a conventional setup without any air suspension or air dampers. What is missed though is we don't get ventilated seats in the lineup of the GLB. So no heating or cooling seats. There is no air conditioning vents either on the rearmost row of the third row of passengers. So maybe I think my pet, if I decide to put him there, will be a little sticky in our peak summers. So that it definitely is a miss. So now that I've switched to the all-electric EQB 300, which is the one that's available in our market, things get a little more exciting. So you get this special rose gold colored body paint that Merc is offering only on the EQB. You also get gold plated key fobs in the same shade. So I think that's a nice little touch. Even the vents, the turbine style vents are in that rose gold shade. You also get this mood music disco lighting of sorts on the passenger side of the dashboard, which kind of changes with the music that you're playing. That's a cool feature as well. Overall, the interiors feel more or less the same, except the fabrics on this car have the tonality of the rose gold combined with the black interior. In terms of stats, this is a 66.5 kilowatt hour battery pack, lithium ion, within the floorboard of the car. Claimed range is 423 kilometers on the WLTP cycle, which I think in real world should translate to anywhere between 300 to 350 kilometers, depending on your traffic and your route planning that you normally use. But the differences start once you sit in this car. So up front, the clatter, the boominess on the high RPMs, I think is all gone. It's quite silent. A little bit more of the road noise does pilfer in due to the lack of engine noise, sort of, or the vibrations that are common on the ICE engines. But the more interesting thing is, what I've started to love is with these electric cars, because the weight is so focused lower down, the body roll is more controlled, the heftiness is very enjoyable when you're driving across a hilly section or a straight road. And I think that is paramount, the biggest difference between the two, with the GLB and the EQB. One thing I love about the EQB is, of course, apart from the fact that it's silence and it's pretty quick, you get ventilated seats on this car. This is a fully imported car to our country. And one thing that may not be great being electric is the 0 to 100 is slower than the diesel. So of course it's pushing a lot of weight. It's almost what, a boxy SUV, 2,170 something kgs. So a 0 to 100 in 8 something seconds. And maybe, of course, for who it's targeted towards families and young families and pet owners, I think it will do the job adequately. You also get the 8-year battery warranty as standard on this car to sort of alleviate fears of what happens if something goes wrong with the battery. And also Mercedes is giving an 8-year transmission and engine warranty on the ICE powered cars as well. So they would like to focus on the fact that if someone's buying an electric or an ICE version today, 3 years down the line, with the kind of mileage of about an average of 10 to 20,000 kilometers, they are claiming that you should get between 60 to 64% of residual value of the purchase value of this car. So I think that is something really, really reassuring for a lot of buyers. The GLB slots between the GLA and the GLC, but given the fact that Mercedes' best-selling SUV is the GLC in our country, the GLB with that kind of pricing may find it difficult to find a lot of buyers, considering it's a full import. But the electric EQB actually has little competition in its current space. On one end we have the BMW i4, which is a sedan. On the other end we have the XC40 Recharge, which is only a 5-seater. So it sits in a very interesting space with little competition and a unique proposition for families looking for that practical but all new age electric car. So here's my verdict on the brand new EQB and the GLB, the new Mercedes siblings that are going to create a lot of curiosity in the SUV space. It's got design, it's got styling, it's got the SUV baby GLS proportions that I think will be loved by a lot of people. What it misses out is the second and third row. Comfort is not ideal for tall passengers for long journeys. It also is going to be on the pricier side, but it's clearly targeted towards families looking for that spacious, versatile SUV which can be driven in the city as well as for the long weekend or the travel destinations that they want to go to. Overall, it is a package that will be hard to ignore. You're watching Top Gear India. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel, and if you like the new GLB, let us know in the comments below. Until then, drive safe.